All right. Hello and welcome to the Finding God in Literature channel. Today we're going to be reviewing Harper Lee's Go Set A Watchman. I'm taking a break from the regular classical literature that I normally do to talk about kind of the thing of the day. And still, in a way, a classical literature because we are talking Harper Lee. But there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that as well as go into some basic questions about Christian literature and what we can gain from this as Christians as we read. The first question that I had on my list that we were talking about was, where did the title come from? In the book itself, Scout mentions the fact that the pastor would get a sermon on this particular verse, and it is from Isaiah 21:6. If you read Isaiah 21, the watchman is a watcher. He looks out on Babylon as it is being destroyed. The importance of this is it's the concept of an older established society just being destroyed by a newer concept or by God himself. This is obviously an analogy to the 1960s. It's obviously the segregationist thinking that goes on in this book being destroyed, even though some people are very adamant that this is the best thing to do. The second question was, does Jean Louise have any other people she has put on a pedestal? And the third question is, where are they now? And I'm probably going to kind of take those two together. Scout has several people that she puts on the pedestal, most notably Atticus. And in this book, the main concept is to take Atticus and destroy him so that he's no longer on a pedestal. We as Christians should appreciate this, because this is the same thing that we talk about every day, that we cannot put anybody on a pedestal that takes him above God and Christ. This is what she's done with her father. Her father is the perfect father. Many people today still see Atticus as the perfect father, and we all need to take him off of that pedestal. I myself am doing certain things with my daughter right now because of the way that I read Atticus, but I know that God still is above him. Jean Louise has not quite learned that, and that's what she needs to learn in this lesson throughout the book. And remember, I've always said that nothing happens for an accident. Harper Lee kills off Jem, one of the main characters from the original book. And you have to ask yourself, why did she do this? It's not because he just got sick, people. That doesn't happen in books. If you kill a character, you did it for a reason. And I think that the best way to talk about the reason that this happened is Jem is always her conscience in the first book. Every time she's thinking the wrong thing, he's there to say, snap out of it. He's also always there to point her back to Atticus. This book is about her getting away from Atticus and having to learn how to think for herself. Jem can't exist in those circumstances. Calpurnia is kind of the same thinking in my mind. She gets distanced because of racial relationships, but the idea is still the same. She can't rely on anybody that she used to rely on. It is interesting, however, that Uncle Jack is brought into the story. Somebody that we don't really hear about in the first book, but who is now put on a pedestal as her confidant. At times she gives way to that and thinks about him as a lunatic or crazy for the way that he's thinking, but she always does come back to the fact that what he was saying is right, and she always does end up relying on him. And by the end, even though she's learned not to put people on pedestals, I think that he's on a little bit higher plane than the rest of the people around her at that point. The fourth question, I think, is more of a matter of opinion. Is Atticus, and can we still respect him? But I think the most important part of that is more to do with the world around us right now, and we have social media and all these things that we're constantly using to talk about what we think and what we feel, and we don't listen to the other side of the story. Atticus, we've known from the past, is a bright man. The fact that he totally misses the mark on racial relationships in the 60s and is kind of confined to his Southern thinking that doesn't allow him to see a black man as totally equal to him, gets us to the point of just what we have today with certain things like Republicans and Democrats and all those and different people who just want to fight each other. Atticus has a wrong opinion, but at least he has thought it through. He has reasons for it. They're not what we would consider good ones, but they are important in the way that he discusses them. He doesn't just jump the gun, and he's happy and more than willing to talk to his daughter and accept the fact that she totally disagrees with him. As a parent, I can understand that. Isn't this what we really want our children to be able to do? At some point, we want them to accept Christ, not because we told them, not because of the stories we did, not because we said prayers every evening, but because they read the Bible for themselves and they found it to be true. And it's not, we don't want a scout who's basically still repeating us in her 30s. We want her to come to her own understanding of the truth. And it's important for us to allow them to think that way and allow them to express themselves if we're ever going to get to the point where and listen to them as they listen to us, or we don't give them that confidence that they need in the future. The final question that we have is, what does this book have to do with not judging others? How should we approach those who do not agree with us? And I think I've already stated this several times. It's about allowing for the difference and being able to discuss or argue without anger. Atticus is never angry at Scout. She's constantly angry with him. Her anger prevents her from talking to him for so long that it is festered to the point where she can't really listen to him. It takes a very long time for her to be able to sit down and talk to him because she's judged before she's even spoken. The only evidence that we have of him being a bigot is him being at a meeting at the beginning about segregationism. We never get to the point where there's an actual conversation until like the second to last chapter. She is relying on her own feelings and her own understanding of things, and she's not willing to listen to the world, not even her father, in order to understand a different point of view. And as Christians, we can't allow ourselves to do that. We have to be able to not only talk about Jesus Christ, but we have to be able to listen to other people that don't agree with Jesus Christ and mindfully answer their questions, not jump down their throats and tell them that they're wrong for the way that they act. So I think that this book is a definite read. I think it is an important read. I do not think it is To Kill a Mockingbird, but it is definitely one of the better books out there right now. And I hope that you take the time to explore it and read it and enjoy it. And remember, we are the ones that are there to find the morals for ourselves. And it's our job to do that. I look forward to seeing you the next time that we talk about for our next book. The next book that we will be reviewing is J.D. Salinger's To Catcher in the Rye. And I can't wait to see you then.